Active listening. According to Mind Tools, how well you listen has a major impact on your job effectiveness and on the quality of your relationships with others. Here's some interesting listening facts. According to Edgar Dale, we remember about 25 to 50% of the information we receive. And it's often the case that if we do not use this information or need to recall it on a regular basis, we tend to forget it. According to Glenn Lopez in a Forbes article, most knowledge is learned through listening. So most of the things we learn every day is not necessarily from books or things that we read. It's often from listening to other people, perhaps listening to audio, listening to news, or listening to videos, for example. Another interesting fact is that we understand about 25% of what we listen to. This means that some of our comprehension, most of it, in fact, is not complete. There's a sense that we get the general gist or the general idea, but we may not necessarily process everything we hear. We sometimes miss on the details. Here's another one. About 2% of all professionals have any training in listening. There is actually an international listening association who is dedicated to building listening skills, including empathic listening. Some other interesting listening facts, according to Glenn Lopez, is that we spend varying percentages of our time during the workday completing different kinds of activities. 45% of our time is listening, 30% we spend talking, 16% we spend reading, and 9% we spend writing. So most of our time in the workday is spent listening. And in listening, this includes looking at others, reading body language, paying attention to our environments so that we can respond effectively and appropriately. So why do we listen? First, we listen because we want to learn or receive information. We're taking information in, and because of interest, because of curiosity, because we need that information to complete a task or a goal, or we're seeking information about a person to use to better understand that person or what is expected, or even to build relationships. We also listen to give an appropriate response or feedback. And examples would be if we're assessing someone, giving some kind of evaluation or critique, or simply maybe giving someone some suggestions or offering advice. Why else do we listen? Because we like to listen. We love listening to things that amuse us, like recreation, things that are relaxing. We love to listen to music. We listen to different kinds of sounds. Some people enjoy hearing the sounds of rain, or hear the sounds of musical instruments, or particular kinds of sound effects. So sometimes just listening to a rhythm or tone or melody can be very relaxing and soothing, or it can be very enjoyable. We also listen, get to make connections and to form relationships, for support, to appreciate each other, and to validate feelings. Now, sometimes we have not so good listening habits. Let's say they're bad listening habits. Some of these include not really showing respect for the speaker's right to share their ideas, not necessarily paying attention to the whole meaning of the message, but just hearing the surface. Maybe we can be distracted, so we're not fully paying attention. Interrupting the speaker often and not allowing them to complete their thought, or jumping in with our own story or ideas and taking attention away from the speaker. And not making eye contact. We may think we are fully listening, but the speaker may not feel that way if we're not looking at them or looking in their direction. Some other bad listening habits would be rushing the speaker, pushing them to hurry up, or appearing impatient for them to finish. Again, getting distracted, whether through technology, maybe use of our phones, or physical environments, paying attention to other things that are around us. Another one is topping the story, trying to see it as a competition, as if to say, oh, that's nothing, my story, I've been through worse. Or not paying attention to the point of the story and getting caught up in unimportant or trivial details. Or listening literally, listening for content rather than understanding meaning. Some other bad listening habits are focusing too much on details, missing the big picture. Also ignoring what you don't understand. Sometimes we get a general idea, but we're missing some key information. We're not fully understanding the message. And in that case, we want to check in to ensure that we understand what the speaker is saying. Then we can also sometimes daydream, and we are not fully focusing, and so we're pretending to listen. Sometimes we can get caught if the speaker asks us, do you understand what I'm saying? Or were you listening to me? What was I saying? Some roadblocks to listening may also include judging or criticizing the person's views, giving the person the impression that if we don't appreciate, if we don't like their views or we don't agree, that they have no right to their own points of view. Labeling people or insulting someone because we disagree. Commanding someone or ordering someone in a way that makes them feel they have no choice but to listen to us or to feel the same way we do, that we can't resist, that we can't have different ideas, and that we're being told how to feel. Moralizing. For example, instead of allowing someone to tell their story without judgment, without critique, without question, we start to give them a lecture on what was done wrong and what could have been done better. Or diverting, which is instead of allowing the story to follow a train of thought, we try to redirect it to where we want the focus to be and ignore the original path or intent. And advising. Sometimes we think we're doing something great by giving advice, but it may actually be a turnoff because someone may think of that as being intrusive and not giving them the choice to decide how they want to handle a situation. So now we get to, well, what is good listening? Good listening starts with being active listeners, and that includes attending, which means paying attention in the moment when we're speaking and listening to someone. Understanding what they are saying, really focusing and trying to understand what they're trying to convey on their own terms, not simply based on whether we like it, we agree, or we support it. Then, attempt to remember key facts. things that we can take away that are useful or beneficial. Evaluating, which is thinking carefully about whether the information is true or false, it's accurate, trustworthy. We may even consider the source of the information and question, is this person qualified? Is this person credible? Is this person trustworthy? And then figuring out, based on our understanding of what was communicated, how do we respond to the message appropriately and effectively? This demonstrates communication competence. Thank you.